"She doesn't belong here." The words slipped out like whispers, but enough to silence the laughter and music around the glittering ballroom. The young woman, draped in a shimmering gown, stood at the grand staircase, her eyes narrowing at the janitor who had just stepped hesitantly through the door. He wore a simple suit, not polished, not expensive, but clean. His shoulders were stiff, his face pale with uncertainty. People turned, whispering, their curiosity rising like waves. The woman stepped forward, her heels echoing on the marble. "You can't just walk into this gala," she said sharply. "This is an elite fundraiser, not for staff." The man lowered his gaze, gripping the invitation in his hand. He could have left then, slipped away in silence. But he didn't. Because tonight, for the first time in years, he had a reason to be there. What the young woman didn't know, what the entire hall didn't know, was that years ago, when she was just a child, this same man had carried her fragile, bleeding body in his arms, running barefoot across a broken street, his shirt soaked in her blood. She never knew his name. She never remembered his face. All she knew was that someone had saved her life on a night her world should have ended. And now, without realizing, she was trying to strip him of the dignity he deserved more than anyone else in that room. The gala continued, laughter masking the awkward moment, but whispers lingered. The janitor, his name was Thomas, did not leave. He walked to a quiet corner, away from the chandeliers and polished tables. He was used to being invisible. He had cleaned these same marble floors after every grand event, sweeping away the champagne glasses and footprints of the powerful. But tonight was different. Tonight, he was invited. The host himself had sent him that invitation, a recognition for years of unseen service, a gesture of gratitude. Yet, as the music swelled and couples twirled, Thomas felt like an intruder in a place where money and status defined worth. The young woman, her name was Evelyn, kept glancing at him, her unease growing. She was the daughter of a powerful businessman, proud and polished, taught to guard her image like a jewel. But something about Thomas's quiet presence gnawed at her. He wasn't arrogant, nor pushy, nor desperate to belong. He just stood there, watching with kind, steady eyes. And that unsettled her more than arrogance ever could. Hours passed. A speech began. The host, a silver-haired man, stood before the crowd, lifting his glass. "Tonight, we celebrate not just wealth, but the quiet strength that often goes unseen. There is someone here among us who deserves recognition. A man who has worked humbly in these halls for decades, ensuring we shine while he remains in the shadows. But what you don't know is that years ago, this same man saved a life. A little girl's life." The room shifted. Silence deepened. Evelyn froze, her breath catching. The host pointed toward Thomas. "That man is Thomas." Gasps rippled. Evelyn's heart pounded as fragments of memory burst through, the screech of tires, the shattering of glass, her body weak and cold, and strong arms lifting her into the night. Tears stung her eyes. She had been 8 years old. Her parents had told her a stranger saved her. She had wondered for years who he was, prayed to meet him, but never imagined he had been walking past her every day in this very building, broom in hand. Her throat tightened as she walked toward him. For the first time in her life, she felt small, not because of wealth or power, but because of the depth of her own blindness. "It was you," she whispered, trembling. "All these years, it was you." Thomas gave a faint smile, eyes soft. "It doesn't matter, miss. You're alive. That's enough." But it did matter. To Evelyn, it mattered more than anything. She fell to her knees before him, tears spilling, not caring who was watching. She begged for forgiveness, not because she had pushed him away tonight, but because she had never seen him, truly seen him, until now. The crowd, moved beyond words, broke into applause. People who had once dismissed the janitor now clapped with wet eyes. In that moment, status, wealth, titles, all of it melted away. What stood in the spotlight was not money, but humanity. Evelyn took Thomas's hand, pulling him toward the center of the ballroom. "This night, this gala, it belongs to you." She turned to the crowd, her voice shaking yet strong. "If you're watching this, if you've ever judged someone by their job, their clothes, their place in society, remember this man. Remember that heroes don't always wear crowns or suits. Sometimes they carry mops. Sometimes they carry children." Thomas's eyes glistened, though he tried to hide it. For him, saving Evelyn had never been about recognition. It had been about instinct, about humanity. But tonight, he was no longer invisible. He was honored, celebrated, and seen. The music began again, softer this time, and Evelyn leaned close. "Promise me one thing,"